Hi, just want to make a quick video on how you can help advocate and for the Medicaid autism hearing rates that is coming up on 3/16/21. So I just threw this together. Hope it helps. If it's not clear, please feel free to give me a call or email me at wendy.maurer@colehealth.com and I can help walk you through it. So, how can you help advocate? Number one, you can register to attend the Health and Human Services meeting on 3/16/21. There's two things that you can do in the meeting. You can give a written testimony or an oral testimony. Actually, three things. Or you can sit and listen and become aware of what is going on as well. You can also submit a written testimony, like I just said, but also sending out a written testimony to your local representatives. And I'll show you some great links on how to do that. And then just staying up to date with some great resources. So here's some quick facts. So our Texas Medicaid coverage for ABA therapy was put into law in place on June 15th, 2019. Here we are almost a full 2 years later, and we still don't have funding for that yet. Things do take time. We have had a pandemic, but this is still critical access to care for many children. And so it's critical for all of us to come together and advocate for these children to ensure that they're getting their access to care. So the two main top priority things that we're looking at here is they're going to be covering basically the rates, coverage, and the timeline. So our top two priority is number one, an appropriate rate. Right now, the rates that are proposed are about 47% less of what other states are getting and what the cost is for that, meaning you're not going to have enough ABA centers to accept those rates and be providers for these children. So there's going to be limited access to care. And then the biggest second thing too is the state has two options right now. They can either make this an immediate action item and make it a top priority within their budget and release this funding as early as September 1st, 2021. However, if they don't see it as a top priority, it will hopefully be implemented and roll out in March of 2022. We have children that have been on Medicaid interest wait list for over 2 years. The child that was 4 is now 6 years old. It is time to roll this out for so many kids. So here's a great visual from Autism Speaks website, just to give you that great poppin' pink state right there, Texas. We've got to get on board and be able to implement these services out for kids for so many reasons. So how can you tell your representatives? You can write a letter to your representative and let them know what the critical needs is for that. I always kind of recommend a quick one pager. Nobody wants to read multiple pages unless like it's super interesting. But one page is quick and to the point, and always making sure you're listing out those two top reasons, that there's appropriate funding and immediate funding released for these kids. You're going to want to share who you are, what you do, and who you serve. And you're going to want to make sure to implement and use this fancy terminology. If you want me to email this all out to you, more than happy to do that. Just go ahead and email me. But basically, you can use the same scripting listed out on this slide, letting a representative know that the program's to be implemented as soon as possible. And then most of all, too, just make sure you're thanking them. They read thousands of letters. They pass thousands of bills per session. Make yours stand out by really thanking them for what they are doing as well. So who do you need to email this to? Well, we're going to want to focus on your local reps and who it is that is on this committee that really is going to see this as an appropriate. So you can find your representative here. And you can also find your other representatives at this website here. If you actually just go to Google and throw in Texas, who represents me, You'll get this website right here, super fun. It will pull up all your local offices and whoever represents you in that area. You're going to want to make sure to email out your Texas legislator, your Texas senator. Those are the two that we're focusing on right now, considering that this is a top priority within the state of Texas. So, March 16th, 21, Health and Human Services Committee is having a meeting. At this meeting, they will be covering the rates and they will be releasing the funding date. It is very important that if you have a written comment to get those in. They have a deadline of 5 p.m. the day of, but I highly recommend doing that a couple days before because, life, it's just easier to make sure it's out there in the open. The email to email it out is pfdacutecare@hhs.texas.gov, or you can mail it out as well, or fax. The fax number is listed on there. So there's many ways to get in your written comments. Again, written comments, short and sweet, and also you can personalize it as well. If you have a child who requires ABA therapy, but you haven't had access to care, tell them that. They need to hear that. Or if you've had a child and you've had commercial insurance, or you've paid out of pocket for ABA therapy, tell them what ABA has done for your kid. This is the most important opportunity to plug those personal testimonies in, and then really also making sure that you're covering both of those points as well, that this is critical access to care for children, and that you want to make sure that there's appropriate rates, they're sustainable, and that immediate release of funds so the children are not waiting any longer. So to register for the meeting, it is, I believe, during spring break on a Tuesday from 9 to 12. But you can go to this website here. I'll list it in the link also below. But you can go ahead and register for that so you're ready to roll and hear all the fun stuff. Some other great resources to follow on this is ABA Public Policy Group has a lot of great information. I recommend following their Facebook page. They keep a lot of things up to date on there as well. feetofhouston.org, super great nonprofit here in the Houston community that all the things ABA, list out all the ABA providers, love them, super great. Also, you can always check out the Texas Health and Human Services webpage and stay up to date with all the notifications, updates on that. And then you can also stay up to date with our company, Cole Health, on our YouTube page. We try to release a ton of resources for families on that, so make sure to check that out. If you have any other questions, again, please feel free to reach out to me anytime, and thank you for coming together and advocating for all the children.